All right, I think this will be a short one. This question came up today, so I'm going to answer it. So, what's Red Hat testing, and how does that relate to AI models and also TestFox and things like that? TestFox is our testing platform. Okay, so on this screen here, we can see that we've got the AI, the LLM itself, which is, that could be ChatGPT, could be Anthropic Claude, and then that LLM is embedded within an AI system. And when we're talking about Red Hat testing, we're often talking about testing the actual LLM model to see if it can be injected, tricked, or whatever. This AI model within application, though, someone may have done fine tuning to it, which is to continue the training. They may have a LoRA model placed on top of it, which is a different kind of fine tuning, one that's laid on top of it so that you can change the model, because this fine tuning is actually directly on the model done by that company. Then all of this, you could call this the AI model that you're using within your application. The user writes a message, the user, the customer, whoever it might be. This is interpreted by the instructions, the custom instructions of that GPT. That GPT may be, that AI model is part of its system instructions, may also be loading things from a database, or maybe loading things from a RAG, which is an AI vector database. What's being loaded in here is beyond the scope of this discussion or how you do that, but in all cases, what I'm trying to say here is basically all this combined is one AI operation. Your application then may have several AI operations inside of it. So each time you got an input and you got an output. So what does that look like in terms of an application? So you might have here the person sends a message into an AI system. This could be a chatbot, could be a internal AI agent you're using to process data. So you take that and you do some kind of operation on it. Maybe it's write me a draft for a blog post, right? And then the AI is going to potentially, these are optional steps, but maybe it's going to augment that quality of that content. Then it's going to maybe self-validate that it did a good job. And then maybe it could even have a control step at the end to make sure that nothing has been said that breaks terms and policies, legal liabilities, whatnot. And then all of that comes through, and then we send you back, the person who asked for a blog post draft, some kind of draft to look at. When you're using AI just on your own through a browser, you're actually just really getting this operation. You might get some hidden layers of control, but all of this is happening just within that LLM itself. So we're talking here that each of these blue boxes is essentially this blue box, right? So we've got potentially different AI models here at different steps, because you don't need the same model or the same expensive model for each of these steps, especially for things like validation, control, probably not either if you're breaking up the control into smaller pieces. And then, if you want to go further, this entire process might be logged or it might be monitored and through observability. And then there can be some further AI operation for reflection on how to improve things about itself. A human might then review that, or if you're getting really confident with the system, it might also be self-improving. So where does TestFox come in to answer that question? So TestFox is simulating essentially a person, right? So we're having TestFox pretend it's a person, send a message through the system, and then we're getting some kind of an answer back. If I can get this little thing to reconnect over here. Oh my God, my lines are a little messy, but whatever. And TestFox is then reading that and testing. So we're testing basically in the way that a person would be using your application. What we're not, we can uncover problems with the LLM, absolutely. But if the problem is the LLM itself, let's say you're using a model that has a vulnerability, you've got a few options. Number one, update that model. If you do that, you're going to have to retest everything, because once you have a new model, you're going to get different answers. If you have a new model and you did fine tuning, you're going to have to refine tune it. So you definitely need to retest everything. The other option you can do if your AI model does have a vulnerability is you could add, maybe it's just one problem. You could add that to your control layer at this end. So you could, or maybe you didn't have a control layer. So you could add a control in that process to make sure, let's say an injection attack, maybe it's actually at the start. If the user is asking something at the start that is not allowed, you add some kind of a pre-filtered check, eliminate that problem. Great, you didn't have to change your whole AI model and retest everything, but that's how you would deal with that. So yeah, hope this is helpful as an explanation of the difference between Red Hat testing and normal full testing that we're doing with TestFox.